Good morning. How are you?
All right. I want to say good morning, Milwaukee. Oh, I think I'm on speaker. Hold on. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. That gentleman that called in, I can hear echo myself.
Okay.
I can hear myself.
Bring the volume down and take us off speaker.
I took you off speaker.
Okay.
Wait, let me see. Hello?
That's okay. You sound fine on our end. Go right ahead.
Okay. That gentleman that called in to try to help the young lady that was in distress, I commend him and you and Michelle for everyone that helps somebody that's in distress. And if they're the person that's a abuser is not able to follow you, doesn't have a car, go straight to the police station. And I agree 100%. Call the police, let them handle it. But if it's a car involved and they can follow you, don't do that. But I just commend everybody that helps people because I know abuse from childhood and adulthood. And I just, want to say good morning and thank you, everybody. And I love WNOB.
All right, so Lisa, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's an issue that in our community when we talk about. I was mentioning when I was off air to Michelle that former Mayor Tom Barrett was at State Fair with his family, and there was a domestic violence situation, and he interceded, and he took a lot of damage.
Yeah, man, those kids
his hands
jumped on him.
No, wasn't kids. It was one dude.
It wasn't kids that jumped on him?
Dude.
That was dude put that whooping on him.
It was a kid.
No, Native American brother. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What was his detail, though?
Huh?
I mean, typically, mayor, are you typically out at a function like that without your detail?
Yeah, that was interesting. But he was at the State Fair with the family.
Right, with that many people, visibility, and certainly you're the mayor. So, I mean, it just would think that I get it when you're out on your personal, but if you're going to intervene.
Yeah, I mean, and doing the right thing. But a lot of times you become collateral damage, stepping in. He said, why didn't somebody do something? It was the video that they shared with, Michelle shared with us, where the guy pulled the gun, was holding the gun to the sister's head. He said, why'd you do something? Well, if you don't have a gun, that's a tough call.
Yeah.
But,
man, listen, I told you, I think I told y'all, my grandmother gave me the thing, said, go down there and check on your auntie, that Negro down there jumping on her. I get down there, man, and I'm talking real slick. I'm getting ready to do something to the young man, and my auntie jumped on me.
Yeah, that happened. I've seen that. As a matter of fact, that's crazy. I was, we normally, the college we went to, we were kind of isolated, and so there was always hostility. Sometimes what you saw in school days and that Kentucky Fried Chicken piece, but that was real. That that happened, and so and they used to use the term townie, right? And it wasn't just to be the white students who go in the town, and they may go to the place was called the Odd House, and you'd have locals there, and you could get into it. But we decided that we were going to go to this house party in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. One, I didn't know there was any black people in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So we're at the party. It's about 8 of us. Maybe, is it 8? We're at the party. And upstairs, I don't know how my guy got upstairs. It made me went up to use the bathroom. But dude is in there having a situation with his girl, right? So our guy intercedes. He da-da-da-da-da. So now it turned into something else because they wasn't real happy that we were there. Yeah. Because we getting a whole lot of attention in college boys, and you're getting a whole lot of attention. Yeah. So she go to the car, and she get a gun, and she come back in because now these dudes and her are getting ready to do us.
Huh. Oh, wow.
So I was like, man, we got to go.
Yeah, get up out of there.
Right. And so on the way back, my guy from New York, he's a Dominican angel. You go, oh, we should have said, dude, first of all, we ain't from there.
Right. That part.
And the fact that we are who we are.
Yeah.
Dude, they going to bring down, and we didn't have the numbers. And we certainly didn't have the firepower. Sometimes they said that, there are 4 cardinal virtues, and one of the cardinal virtues is courage. And it said, in courage, and I know people hate to hear this, you got to know when to act.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you just rush in, you know, now sometimes you know, it's adrenaline, we need to stop the situation. But yeah, I mean, it got to the point where, you know, and maybe that was normal for them.
Yeah.
And you know, our fire fatherhood program, you know, one of the things we do, we talk about healthy relationships and the ability to be able, and it's hard. I don't care, in the best of situations, when you have a lot of tension surrounding you, you know, how you learn how to resolve anger has a lot to do with how you grew up. You know, and so a lot of times we're just the victims of our environment, you know, that we go out and this is how we see how to, you know, Chris Brown and Rihanna, you know, he was saying, look, I used to see that with my mama. I thought that's how you resolve it. You know, it's a conversation that we have to have. It's been going on, you know, since forever. And understanding that people find themselves in some real difficult situations where I remember saying to Rhonda, and we've had some, you know, you talk about a marriage, how you live your vows. But I said, the first time I call you bitch, we done.
Yeah.
Because we have gotten to the point now where I have dehumanized you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which opens up the door then for a whole lot of bad behavior.
Yeah.
And, you know, no matter how angry you get, you know, sometimes you have to learn how to separate yourself, de-escalate as much as possible. It's hard because, you know, especially when you're in your feelings, man. I mean, it's like, and here's the other thing: we don't like losing.
Oh no,
we don't like losing arguments.
No. And that's true, man. Because it's like that we get to the point that it's like, hey, hold on, man. I ain't gonna let nobody like walk over me or override me. I ain't no punk. I ain't no. I mean, you know, for me, you know, it's the PAB word, and I'm like, that. Oh, you ever want to push a button with me?
That's funny. Let me. I don't know if I can lighten this up. I do know that there are people who work with me back in the day, and so. We're at 76th Street. So I don't know how we had boxes, but a young lady had come in and she said, hey, Keith, you know, got these boxes. Can I get boxes for this particular person?
Yeah.
She said, she never told me, she said, can I get the boxes? I said, yeah. I didn't know she was getting the box for the woman who then came in and asked for the boxes. I said, no, I already gave Tracy the boxes.
Right.
So she said, okay. She went outside. So that, and when we were on 76th Street, the smokers were back. There's a back door. This is where was that Evolve Church? Yeah. Well, that was our location.
Gotcha.
So they're outside smoking, and she said, "I can't stand Key. You know, he's a punk blank blank, punk blank blank, punk blank blank."
Boy.
So the young lady who came in, and she said, "Keith, I ain't no snitch." But old girl out there, she called you all kind of boom, 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 boom. So as it happened, that day we had an all-staff meeting. So I get up in front of the staff, and I said, I know y'all calling me Pam behind my back. You go, Pam? So yeah, you calling me Pam behind my back. I go, who is Pam? So I spelled it out for him. Punk Blake. So after that, whenever they want to talk to us, they say, "Oh, forget you, Pam."
I know what it is.
Talking about me, and they were going like, "Pam, who is Pam?" Yeah, so
just do something to me, brother. Do something to my skin. My skin crawl.
Oh man! But yeah, you how we resolve it, man. And that's what I say about. I'll never forget a guy, and that's my ignorance, you know. And I can be really ignorant. And I was at a workshop, and we were talking about political pieces, and I was there supposedly to give my little expertise on politics, and so we're having this conversation. So I mentioned this church because I think it's significant. So this one young man raised his hand, and he said, He said, well, the Bible says to be angry, but to sin not. I said, that ain't in the Bible. He said, yeah. I said, where you go to church? He go, I go to Holy Redeemer. I said, look, I know, at that point he wasn't bishop, but I know Pastor Dan. I know that, but I'm ignorant. So I go look it up. Well, guess what?
It's there.
It's there.
It's most definitely. Get angry and sin not.
And then, and this is the whole thing. Then I have a situation where it came true.
Yeah, that you're angry.
Because it's saying that your anger is legitimate. It's how you act on the anger that's the problem.
You know what? Speaking of that, I'm gonna tell you this. People say, fighting and this is not Christ-like. But scripture tells you that your mouth can invite a beating. It's biblical.
And it's also street. Don't write no checks
that you can't cash
with your mouth.
Yeah,
that your body can't cash.
Yeah, Doc. So a whole lot of people be like, that's not God-like. And this. Wait a minute, hold on. The scripture tells you to watch your mouth.
It may not be God-like, but
watch your mouth.
I tell people all the time, I'm not as saved as you want me to be.
What they say about that tongue?
Listen here, man. The tongue can cause you to get a lashing.
Like a two-edged sword.
Yeah, and it can cause you to get a lashing.
A whole lot of us, and maybe all of us our mouths have gotten us into some trouble.
Oh my God.
Where I was at American Baptist. I'm a freshman. It's the guys that are older, they ain't no real great basketball players. So when I'm the best basketball player on campus, something is up.
Yeah,
right?
something's wrong. Mighty wrong.
Yeah.
Mighty
wrong. That's kind of where we are. And so we out playing, and there's this brother, Ed Robinson. He's a Vietnam vet, older brother, right? And he was a football player. He wasn't no basketball player. And man, I'm the wizard. Man, I'm just, I'm number 44. Do you know who I am? I'm 44. I'm killing them. So what do? You equalize it. Old school. Yeah. He broke me up on a foul.
Oh yeah, Doc.
He hurt me
so hard. Yeah, he hit you hard.
He hurt me.
I said, gee, damn it. He looked at me. The wind stopped blowing. He looked at me. He said, did you just cuss me?
Oh,
and I took off running.
I'm out of here.
And I know he couldn't catch me, right? Because he big dude, man. And the campus wasn't that big, but I think I ran around the administration building. I just ran. But this just happened before lunch. And I'm 18 years old. And the one thing I ain't going to miss is lunch. I ain't missing the meal, right? Yeah. So we had this it was just amazing. I was just there visiting a few years ago. It's the laundry room now, but it was our cafeteria. Man, it maybe 50 getting, if that many.
Wow.
And so they had, the cafeteria table. So, I don't see him, but I'm going to eat. Dude, you didn't scare me that much. I'm going to eat.
Right.
So I sit down, Ed come in, sit right next to me.
Oh.
Yeah, you won't cuss now?
Hey, man, my stomach hungry, brother.
That little tear coming down my eye, like, no.
You were like that one Indian commercial, Keep America Beautiful, and that one little tear run down. The Native American.
I was like, oh no.
Wait, you said that one tear came down.
That one little tear came down like,
You got me.
Oh my God, dude.
And he knew, man. He knew, because he know you ain't gonna. Like I said, when you 18, you ain't missing no meals.
Nah.
You ain't missing no meals. And like.
So did it ever cross your mind that he might come to lunch?
Dude, that's I did, but I was too hungry to worry about that. And he sat right next to me, man. That is American Baptist College. Boy, oh boy. So, I learned so much at American Baptist, but there's certain things that I just don't do because American Baptist. And I guess unless I have to, I will not eat a pork steak.
Really?
Dude, we ate pork steak 3 times a week.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how this woman called herself frying that pork steak, because I don't know if she put any flour on it, but we had pork steak. Now, again, when you 18, it was like, but dude, I go like, I tell you something else she served every 3 days. Okra. Dude, we have okra. We had greens. That's the thing you go to HBCU.
But do you eat okra?
No, sir. No, sir.
You eat greens?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason why I eat greens is because my wife, because I hated greens. But, my wife was able to wear me down. And now, man, I'm such a proponent of collards. College for the coloreds. I love collards, man. But she, man, yeah, my wife can make some greens. Yeah, she makes some greens. So I eat greens.
She put some smoked meat over in there.
Yep, yeah, but a little smoked turkey in that. Sometimes we have them sautéed. Sometimes, we do old school, just let them cook. But no, man, I wasn't eating that. Oh, cornbread.
What's wrong with cornbread?
We had cornbread every meal. It felt like
it's a filler.
It's a filler.
It rounds out the meal.
Cornbread, and we literally had a hamburger sandwich.
A hamburger sandwich. Elaborate. What's a hamburger sandwich?
Hamburger on white bread. It wasn't buns. It was hamburger.
This is where they did y'all in school? Hamburger on bread? Did y'all at least have cheese?
No cheese.
No cheese.
Boy.
Mayo, ketchup.
I know the tuition wasn't that expensive.
They just gave y'all ground beef.
Oh, man. So when I got to Mount St. Mary's, first time I went in the cafeteria, you get the tray, you got all these glasses. And so one of the things that my mom was always judicious with at the house was milk, right? You had people, you'd see people come in, like leave it to Beaver, and they go in the refrigerator and pull out some milk.
Glass of milk.
We wasn't doing that. And Lord, I wish you would put some milk on some cereal.
Man.
What?
I wish you would open that refrigerator without asking.
Yeah, do pet milk, man. So
I tell you what sticker shock I got yesterday after I left here. The wife and I went to the store. $6 for a dozen of eggs?
Yeah, and it's gonna go up even more.
Go up. Trump said he was gonna bring it down, but then he pointed out, well, they killed 25 million birds. And they had bird flu,
and then they blamed the.
So let me ask, just for the sake of sounding stupid, the bird flu then does what to humans?
You get the flu. We talk about it all the time.
Do you develop feathers and stuff because it's the bird flu?
No. Bark, 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 bark. You get the bark, bark, bark.
I just want to know.
Yeah, I think that's what is that? Avian flu. But a lot of times that's where the flu comes from birds, and so you got to kill. It's just like, remember hoof and mouth disease?
Yeah.
You had to kill all those cows.
So whatever happened to mad cow disease?
Mad cow was another one.
Yeah. It was,
I mean, so when they get it, and mad cow could not just be in bovine; it could be in deer.
But I know deer have Lyme disease, don't they?
No.
Tick. Lyme. Is it Lyme disease?
That's transmitted by the tick.
Yeah. The tick.
Man, the funniest thing, Keith, we hosted Christmas dinner, and a friend of mine gave me some venison sausage that he had made up. But it was, it was fine. But my mother-in-law, she come by there, and I had the little meat trays out with the sausage and crackers and cheese on it. She just a eating. He said, "Ooh, these summer sausage show is good." Oh my goodness, I just can't quit eating these things. I said, "Well, I'm glad you like them." She said, "Yeah, they show is good. Where'd you get them from?" I said, "A friend of mine. He make them up." Yeah. I said, "That's that venison." What? Venison? She went to spitting and trying to.
Too late.
It's too late. She was full of it. Whatever it had, she I've never seen her eat any, but I'm almost certain that she does.
Okay, but she won't
tell
eat
you
deer.
Her daughter does.
Okay.
No, but that disease was out at the time.
Right. Okay.
So she was nervous that she had contracted something.
So when I got to the Mount, I didn't realize it's all you could eat.
Oh boy.
And, yeah. At 19, I'm still hungry. So, dude, I went from that one little glass of milk to a whole tray just of milk.
Really?
Yeah, because that was the first time I could really kind of drink milk. What would it be? Recreational? I don't know.
Just leisurely,
leisurely. I gave it to drink milk. All right, you listen to Community Voice. Call ICU. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money. providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
about church business. That's what it's called. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning again. Debo, you was talking about the eggs in California. It's like $12 and $13 for a dozen.
Really?
And yes. But anyway, I was gonna say this about I've been watching Bleach since before Obama got in office. It's just been going up, up, up. So I'm in Family Dollar. I had $8, and I finally find a gallon because some stores like Pick and Save, stuff like that, they have the bottles made where it's not exactly a gallon, and I don't even look at Clorox no more. And I got 31 cents back. I was so heated, I didn't know what to do. But anyway, so I've been penny pinching with that. There ain't no more white skin washing. It's just if my socks don't come clean, oh well. You know, I'm the only one gonna see them any dang on way. But another thing, Pine Sol. You cannot find Pine Sol in the gallon like with the yellow handle. Remember back in the day we could get a gallon of Pine Sol? It's a quart. $7 and $8 for a quart. Yes. And I'm like, man, and this has been going on and on with bleach and Pine Sol and stuff like that for years. And I'm like, at $8 for a gallon of generic bleach that was almost hidden at the bottom shelf in Family Dollar. You have to really search. Walmart, they even got like, certain sizes they sell, and Pick and Save down here on 68th State. You know, it's ridiculous. And the one over there on the east side, where my post office box at. But yeah, it's getting ridiculous. And $8 for a generic. But even though it cleans better than Clorox. That's all I had. All right, bye.
All right, so Lisa.
Yeah, they said that this was what the last election was about, the just the cost of everything. And the Fed yesterday decided that they weren't going to drop interest rates, so they're going to kind of keep them where they are right now. There is a concern about inflation. Obviously, depending on if Trump goes through with his threat for tariffs, that's going to drive up prices. So we live in this consumer economy, and yeah.
And there's no way around it because you
got to eat.
You have to eat. You got to clean, and it's just crazy because with some of the bleach stuff, if you go into some of these Family Dollars, or even for the people that live in the neighborhood that can't get to the Walmarts and go to the gas station, these items are not like, it's like watered down, man. Like they add water to this stuff to increase it.
And that's why I say that people like on public assistance, people don't understand, especially now that they've gone to TANF, that if you're getting $6 something a month, how do you pay your rent? How do you get the stuff that you need?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why you see a lot of drugstores, they have to lock up stuff.
Yeah.
Because people are still in lotion.
Yeah.
Toothpaste,
toothbrushes.
Yeah. It's the necessities of life. And so Lisa's right. You can go to a place, if you got the wherewithal to get to a Costco or Sam Club, then you can, Sam, you can pick up those stuff. But if you just talk about it in the neighborhood, it's really something. Yesterday, well, actually Tuesday, we were talking about tuberculosis, and I saw an article yesterday in the Times, and there was another news piece out. There's been a tuberculosis outbreak in Kansas City, in the metro Kansas City area, Kansas, I think, or Missouri. And we were just talking about it. There are some concerns around where RFK Jr. is on a lot of these public health issues, and certainly how we should respond to communicable diseases. And those are diseases that we transmit, from one human being to another, and what that looks like. I always make the argument that, we should be mindful of the science around it. And they were just talking about the number of people who die and I didn't realize that tuberculosis is like one of the top killers in the world.
TB.
Tuberculosis, yeah. People dying from not properly treated, you die.
So what is? I mean,
It's bacteria.
I don't mean
it's
to
a
sound
bacteria, and
ignorant.
I guess we carry it. You know, a lot of us might have it.
Okay.
It's when it gets to the point that it gets to disease.
So is it in your lungs?
It can get to your lungs. Yeah, because remember, someone called and said that they had it in their organs.
Oh yeah.
So
that's right.
So just so people know, and it could start in Kansas City. It started in Kansas City. And so you want to be able to contain the spread based on how it's transmitted. Looks like they've been able to get on folks and to be able to do it. So just wanted to let you know, just as a follow-up, I think that's being pursued. We were talking about it on Tuesday. There has been an outbreak there in Kansas. Now they say throughout the world, it's a different story. The number of people who die from tuberculosis throughout the world because they may or may not have, because it's treated with antibiotics. And if it's not treated, it can in fact kill you.
Wow. Yeah, I just always thought it was something that was just subject, whatever, to your lungs, and it would clog.
Yeah, and that's primarily, I think, where people where they're getting it, it settles in your lungs, and so then it becomes.
But it always confused me, Keith, because like you would take these physicals or what have you, and they just do this little test on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it never was like you breathing into a machine or anything.
Yeah.
It was just something that they would do on the outer layer of your skin. They just
they
place
could tell
it
you
just under the
if
skin.
you had the virus.
But so they'll be able to tell if it was a lump, if that was from where they gave you the shot or something.
Yeah, if you have a reaction to where they gave you the shot at, because you go back and they look at it.
Okay.
And if you have any kind of reaction to it, then they'll say, well, yeah, you know, they probably further tests that would be taken, but certainly if there's a reaction there, they're going to say you got it.
Okay.
Wow.
It said briefly overtaken by the coronavirus as the world's deadliest infectious disease during the pandemic, tuberculosis reclaimed that grim distinction in 2023 when it took 1.25 million lives, according to the World Health Organization. The disease, which is curable, spreads through the air when infected people cough, sneeze, or spit. Without treatment, which usually involves antibiotics, tuberculosis can be fatal. Symptoms can include a prolonged cough, fever, and unexplained weight loss. I said, as of Friday, the most recent day the data was available from the health officials, this is in Kansas, 67 people were being treated for active cases of tuberculosis as part of the outbreak in Kansas. There were 60 cases in Wyandotte County, 7 in Johnson County. An additional 79 people in 2 counties were carrying dormant tuberculosis, commonly referred to as latent cases. Infected people who don't have disease are not contagious, according to the World Health Organization, which estimates that a quarter of the global population is infected with the tuberculosis bacteria.
Wow.
That means 1 in 4 people.
Wow.
They said the WHO predicts that 5 to 10% of those people will eventually get symptoms and develop the disease. Caller, welcome to the program.
Wow. Yikes.
Yes, good morning. My question is, why is somebody who used to be a heroin addict trying to tell you about health? I mean, you only could tell me where to buy the drug and when to do the drug. You can't tell me about no health.
Well, a lot of drug counselors are former users.
Okay, well then they need to stick to drugs, not anything that's dealing with health. Okay. Another thing I wanted to share with you. I called Cavalier Johnson office this morning because I was trying to figure out what's going on, like in the inner city. Because like I got to clean up near my father's house and my house because I got toilet paper in my yard with somebody else's sugar honey iced tea. And I asked the young lady, and let me add, this was not a white, this was a black. I said, well, why are certain things allowed? And she said, I don't know. So I was going to ask you, if you have a brown paper bag, could you turn it over and flick it with your middle finger to see if there's any bricks in it? Because I think I'm about the ignorant one, because I don't understand why we cannot have a clean place. And then I asked, why is it allowed? Because it's not allowed in no other community. And they say, well, I don't know. So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, I was going to ask you, well, do you wash your hands before you wipe or what? she said, well, I don't know. I can't answer it. So I guess I'm the dumb nigga this morning. So I just had to call and share that with you. And watch out. You got a pothole in front of WNOV. It's in the left lane going east. I do not want you to have to get a ball joint. So when you look out that window, turn around. It's a big pothole that they so-called fixed that they didn't. So I don't want you to spend $500 when it's going to be 54 degrees today, okay? Y'all have yourself a good day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it is.
Jackie in there rolling.
It's going to be in the mid-50s today.
Hey, man, this going summer time.
Yeah, you're going to need a ball joint.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to get my car washed to open up the moon roof.
People like you, man, they rush it. And
right, and it's going to be 2 degrees tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw the bill signing, the Lincoln, whatever.
yeah,
I did see
I didn't know that you could use condoms to make bombs.
Really?
That's what Trump said.
Yeah, Trump said that you could inject yourself with bleach too.
I don't know where this number. Somebody said they were lying. Of course, surprise. They said that he stopped $50 million for going to Gaza, where they had condoms. I don't even know what $50 million of condoms would even look like. And he was saying, yeah, and they use them to build bombs.
That dude, boy. Now, if they using condoms to build bombs,
and at first I wondered, did I just hear it and nobody else did? Well, Rachel Maddow last night, she obviously heard it, because when she was speaking last night about just it's CNN has hired, and I know the Washington Post has. Maybe they don't even now with Jeff Bezos, but it was the Washington Post who spent an enormous amount of time fact checking the first Trump administration. He told over 50,000 verified lies. 50,000. That's just amazing. That he So yeah, I did not know that you could use a condom to make a bomb.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's
what?
Like what you gonna put, like some gunpowder?
I don't know.
And the wick.
I don't know.
Put a gunpowder and some wick, and
then I'm trying to figure out how's any aid even gotten into Gaza. They just got the trucks in, started letting the trucks in with the hostage release. They did started last week. So would this dude, man? I mean, it is.
Somebody can tell him, man, that they got a bus full of dinosaurs, and he'll believe it.
No, I think that it can't help if you've been lying on. And look, I ain't never told a lie. But I mean, this is pathological. And then you have a pathological liar. I think the word that Debo uses is to prevaricate. This dude just lie, and then he's a narcissist. I don't know if people noticed. Well, that blew up the phone line.
Bing, bing.
So when he comes in, normally when they come in, I think that's the East Room where they do the signings, and you walk. Now, normally you only see the president. They open the door, and the president's already there, and he comes in. I don't know if anybody noticed that he used the furthest door, and he's coming this way, and there's a phalanx of military personnel lined up. I had never seen any other president do that other than him. I mean, this whole idea that he really does believe that he's the king. Because you would hear him when the way, people say, sir, and they say, sir. But man.
Yeah, I'm just tripping about how he took away the security detail of the guy that challenged him, the general that challenged him. You take away his security detail, but then you have your White House press secretary say that they make enough money that if they need security, they can provide their own security.
And the threats that he's receiving is because of his service to the country. But he not only just pulled his, he pulled Mike Pompeo's, he pulled John Bolton's.
Because he won't something to happen to these people.
No, I think that's how petty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just
like
really petty.
Yeah, though he got the mindset of, oh well, if something happened, good, because why would you pull their security detail knowing that they got security for a reason? So that right there is telling me, well, I want something to happen without saying I want something to happen.
Yeah. Caller, welcome to the program.
Unbelievable.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I have a question. Community. You familiar?
You're breaking up. Do you have us on speaker?
No, she probably in that spot.
No, I'm trying to move. I'll move. How is this?
All right, we're gonna. Can you call back because you're breaking up and we can't hear you? So why don't you call us right back? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, then we can hear. Yeah. Caller, welcome to the program.
Been trying to tell y'all for the last 6 years. Nobody listens. The dude is pure evil, petty. Why would you take somebody's picture off a wall? I mean, this dude is. He worse than my 8-year-old grandson is better equipped to run this country than he is. This dude is so petty, man. And you know, Keith, this is what I don't understand. This country is evil, Keith. We just need to admit it. Like I said yesterday, and you just said, everything that comes out of his mouth is. I mean, why would you even believe anything if he said the sky was blue, which it is? You gotta go outside and look, because like everything that comes out the dude's mouth is a lie. What can you trust that comes out his mouth? I don't know anything about 2025. That's a lot. That's what he's implementing.
And the first thing they did when they did the freezes and allowing the resignations, that's in 2025. That's in Project 2025.
Everything that he's doing, Keith, is about 2025. Right. The people that he's putting in his cabinet, some of the people is the ones who wrote the 2025. Now, this is what I don't understand, Keith. Two things I don't understand. What happened with what's the basketball player for Dallas? What happened to him when he made some derogatory statements about Jewish people?
Man, they took his shoe deal. They took a lot of stuff from him to the point that he had to create his own shoe because he lost deals.
And so, tell me you know what they say, don't believe your lying eyes. But tell me what that dude Elon Musk did the other day. You can't tell me that wasn't a Heil Hitler sign.
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah, well, JDL had to back up on it, especially what he did afterwards.
Where's the pushback from the Jewish community? Where's the pushback on that?
No. Let me say the Jewish community have gone after him because he's supporting.
I haven't heard it, Keith. And you heard something I didn't have.
Yeah, they were talking about Elon Musk, and he's supporting these far right wing political groups in Europe.
Yeah.
And so I think JDL came out condemning that. It's interesting.
I haven't, but Keith, I know you just said that, but Keith, I heard more about it when Kyrie and what was the other person that did it? The other black person that did it that they got off. Kanye West, but it was 3 brothers that did it, and they. I thought it was 3 brothers that did, and they pushed back hard on him.
Well, I know it was Kanye and Kyrie. I know that for sure.
Yeah, and where's all these Palestinians that was all on Kamala Harris? Where's their outcry now? The ones in Michigan that said they was holding their votes back. What is he about to do to all the Palestinians in Gaza right now? So this is what I don't understand. Are we living in a bizarre world? Is that what's going on? Because I don't get it. Where's the pushback from the Palestinians about what he's trying to do to them now?
Yeah, man.
Keith, I just don't get it. What this dude's got about him. That's why I said something's got to be to deal with Satan or something, because I don't understand what the hell is going on, man.
Well, let me. You asked a question, so let me. Al Jazeera. I'm just doing the headlines. That ADL faces backlash for defending Elon Musk's raised arm gesture. The Jerusalem Post. ADL says Musk didn't give Nazi salute without explanation. The Jewish Insider says after holding fire, major Jewish groups condemn Musk's latest Nazi commentary. So now because he's actually going after them, says Jerry Nadler, who is a congressman from New York, accuses Elon Musk of Hitler's salute at inaugural celebration. So I guess it depended on who it was. But yeah, going back on January 21st.
But wasn't he just in Germany? And what did he say? Don't be ashamed of. What did he say?
He said that it's
Wasn't
time
he just
for
in Germany?
them. He said that it's time for them to move on from the past.
Remember, we were talking about it yesterday. In Germany, the swastika is illegal. Yeah. In Germany, the Heil Hitler is illegal. It is punishable.
So why would you want to move on from that?
You want to move on from it because the piece about white supremacy is wipe out the history, act as if it happens. You know, there are people out there who are genocide. I mean, not genocide.
Hey, thanks for y'all letting me get in.
Oh, no problem, George. They're Holocaust deniers. They don't believe that the Holocaust happened. And there are a lot of people out there, and that narrative has been put out there that the Holocaust never happened.
I think somebody said just recently.
Holocaust deniers, right. You have people out. So it's fascinating to me that, and I think the reason why the state of Wisconsin is doing the whole Holocaust history piece is, as Michelle said, it didn't happen here. But there was support for the Nazis here. As a matter of fact, renaming that park, which is now Mother Berrien Park.
So where's it at?
Over by Parkman, the old Lindbergh Park.
Oh, yeah.
It was named after Charles Lindbergh, who was a Nazi sympathizer and a white supremacist. So the fact that we were able, thank you, Brian Verdine and others who, Priscilla Cogs Jones, those folks who made that name change. So even here, there were people who were very supportive. I'm going to go out on this theological or on this religious limb to say that the only reason why white conservatives are supportive of Israel is they believe in end-time Bible prophecy. They want to be on the right side of end-time Bible prophecy. Not that they love Jewish people. They're just so scared if it happens based on their view of what the end times are. So, but anti-Semitism is real. And look, that does not mean, because we still have the issue, we need to separate between people like myself who have a problem with the conduct of the war in Israel, specifically in Gaza. I am not going after Jewish people. I'm going after the Israeli government, right? That is perpetrating those
genocide, man.
I mean, you've had close to over 40,000 Palestinians who've lost their lives.
Yeah, man.
You know, so even as a response to the terrorist act on October the 6th, October the 7th, that's a disproportionate response. Yeah. It's disproportionate on all levels.
Yeah.
So to be able to criticize Israel like I would criticize German foreign policy or German internal policies, it's the same thing. It's not saying that, you're anti-Jewish. And so when people get to the point to say, well, the Holocaust didn't exist, it did exist. It's documentation that existed. It existed. Close to 8 million people lost their lives, and it could have been more. These are the people they can document and account for. And it is what I heard, man's inhumanity to man. But as Michelle says all the time, don't become the thing you hate.
Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning again. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I have a question about the interstate on north and southbound 43 between Capitol and North Avenue. Has anyone noticed how they left that highway? They opened the entrance and exits. They patched up southbound between Capitol and I would say Locust really unevenly. It's really raggedy right there. And they left the barricade barrels on both sides of the highway. But south of North Avenue, north of Capitol Drive, it's like they fixed it. But right in this inner city area, it's like they opened those entrance and exit ramps and just left it raggedy. And I'm going to contact my state representative and tell them to look into that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love you get an answer to figure out what it is in terms of priority. I'm assuming that the interstate is the priority in terms of the construction work, and then you work on the on and off ramps second. I don't know how they determine that, but it would seem because you're more concerned about the flow of traffic on the actual interstate. That would be your primary concern. And then how you then get traffic on. But I don't know if it's an engineering thing that you do. You're doing it in parts anyway.
Yeah.
Because they just finished the Locust Bridge. They just finished
it took them forever though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So that money that's allocated for that's federal money, right?
It could be federal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And they just looked like they just threw it together. That's my
and I think that,
also.
just it when you're looking at construction, when it's incomplete, it looks incomplete.
Terrible, yeah.
And then you look up one day and it's completed, because you have all things, like stuff has to be, the concrete has to settle. There's a lot that goes the engineering part of that. Yeah. And I think that's how it becomes an inconvenience, but at the same time, people say you need to fix the roads.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks incomplete.
Yeah. And so we'll see. But yeah, if you get an answer from your rep, please let us know.
I will. I love you all. I've been missing you because my schedule has changed.
Oh, okay.
But take care.
Well, thank you for listening.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good day, fellas.
Good day.
This is Rick from Germany. I just want to say that Elon Musk is probably most likely not a Nazi, but he is a manipulator of those who hold racist beliefs. The wealthy have always manipulated racism, and it's not going to change today. I'm done, folks.
What's the underpinning philosophy of Nazism? White supremacy, a superior race. He comes from South Africa. That's in his blood. So yeah, I mean, it might not be where it is National Socialism, which is what the Nazi Party was, but part of what drove National Socialism was superiority of the Aryan race. It's built in a certain superiority, and then that superiority in their minds then gives them the right to basically dominate the world. I mean, I'm putting it kind of real simplistically, but that's what it boils down to.
Okay, let me say this. Just because he comes from South Africa doesn't automatically make him a racist. I think he believes in money and making money. And if manipulating racism makes him more money, he's going to do that.
But what makes a racist a racist? Isn't it racist behavior?
I think it's a little deeper than that.
Well, but at some point, I could harbor racist feelings, and you don't know about it. But when you act on it, then does that not make you racist?
Yes, that makes you a racist.
Yeah, and I know, like calling a white person a racist is like calling a black person the N-word, right? It is to them it's offensive. But then when you look at the behavior, you're going, well, that is racist behavior. It's coming from somewhere, or what we deal with here, and probably in Germany, you deal with white supremacy, where European supremacy, that Europeans are superior to everyone else. What did the Romans call everybody that wasn't Romans? They were either heathen, barbarians. So if you weren't Roman, Rome looked down on everybody but other Romans.
Okay. In Germany today, they have invited many refugees from all over the world, especially Ukraine, but all over the world. And of course, they're getting pushback from fearful, racist whites in Germany. But also, America has a history where whites came to America and they saw red men and they saw black men living in peace, and they felt threatened by that. And they knew that they were diseased, and their diseases killed many red men and quite a few black men. But black people survived the diseases, and there was jealousy. So I think white America still hasn't gotten over their jealousy of black Americans' physical day in the sun and physical health and stamina. I'm done, folks.
All right, man. Appreciate you. I look, as I said yesterday, that, and let me just kind of expand what I said it yesterday. Dr. Hassan Jeffries, and I don't know if he's the first, but I heard him the first time I'd ever heard this, where he says that I know race is a construct, which means race is artificial. He said, but racism is real. That construct drives a whole lot of behavior. They didn't come to America for the weather. They came to America for the land and exploiting that land. And if you had to displace people on that land, that's what you did. But then you needed somebody to work that land. And so then you started importing Africans to come in to be enslaved to work that land. And so we still deal with it today. Why are people talking about wokeness and we pushing back on wokeness and we pushing back on DEI, and then DEI becomes a slur, right? After the whole thing down, never mind people lost their lives down in New Orleans. What are you hearing from this group of folks? Oh, they're DEI hires, where you could have incompetent, unprepared, unfit white males who the only reason why they're in any kind of level of consideration is because they're a white male. And there are Europeans who push back on this idea of white privilege in America. White privilege does exist in America, more than people even realize. So I kind of disagree. Well, I'm just saying it wasn't done for emotional reasons. It was really done for economic reasons. And we should always be mindful that cash rules everything around me, right? It is always about the dollar. It's always about the money. And so I don't know. I agree with him. Just because you're of European descent, born in South Africa, does not mean that you're a racist. But when you come out and you do racist things, then chances are you might be racist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, if it's you can call yourself what you want to call yourself, but it's your actions, right, that indicates truly where you truly are. So that's where we are. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, okay, hello, fellas. It's really important what you just said. It's really important what you just said, and I agree with you. Okay, we all have to criticize you. We all have to learn to listen to each other. It's so easy for me to get emotional. You've heard me get emotional. And we start going at it and all yelling and everything like that. So what the fellow just said about Elon Musk is, I don't know if he's a racist. So every conversation on this radio station program, every day, I have to jump to that phone before I shoot my mouth off and start telling you guys you're full of it. Because I don't want to sound like a fool, because it's just bam, 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 bam. It's 1, 2, 3. It's just like, did these people even look it up, or are they just going, here's another progressive tidbit, another progressive tidbit, capital P progressive tidbit, another progressive tidbit. So it's like, wow, man, all day long, every day, hit. Like Rush Limbaugh used to call it the drive-by media. It's like just hit whatever. Guy throws his. I saw a cartoon. It shows Hitler drinking a glass of water. Oh boy, Elon Musk just drank a glass of water. I've seen the video. I couldn't even find him with that clip. Then they showed a video of Mrs. Kamala Harris doing the same thing. We all do that stuff in everyday life. Right. We picked out. Somebody clipped that little clip. Nobody ever complained about this guy, just like they never called Trump a racist except for that thing with his dad. But that was settled.
So, okay, John, I'm going to accept that, okay? That was probably his Osbergers. Okay.
Well, he was excited. You watch the video.
What happens after that, though, John, is what then makes us suspect, because then he goes and embraces far right wing extremists.
You talk about the German thing. Is that what you're talking about? You talk about the German thing?
Yes.
Okay, now there's a thing in Germany, and you know this is going on. There's people there. There have been people murdering Jewish people just because they're Jewish. In Paris, the numbers of people who've gone down in Paris and London is precipitous. You look at the numbers over the last 40 years. It used to be 500 million Jews in Paris, another 500 million in London. Now it's down 300,000. There's a reason for that. It's not white racists. It's Arabs and Arabists, and we know that. The white racists are there. Of course, they're European racists. We know that. Everybody knows that. It's the ones nobody will talk about. Nobody will talk. These guys, you can't go in neighborhoods. And if you are, they stab those guys. The Nazis are sitting there watching and laughing.
So are you saying that is a reaction then?
Yes.
This is why you have a rise of right-wing extremists. I know the Pen Party. Is that Le Pen in France?
Yeah, that guy's been there forever.
What I'm saying is, though, John,
if the left doesn't do something, the right will. If the center left and the center right don't do something, the right is just smacking its lips, just waiting.
But don't you think that, and we see it here, that there's a certain nativism? One of the things that Trump was able to appeal to was the nativism
I think you're right.
Of white Americans in terms of, look, your country is being overrun. And, he's talking about Germany. Germany is bringing in a lot of these people to work.
Yes, they came in over the last several decades.
They're coming to work because the German population is not growing. And so they need people to come in and work their industry. Just like in America, we need the labor.
Yes, we do.
That's working the farms, the dairy farms, working the orchards, those people working in meat packing plants, and a lot of times, when they interviewed this guy who was a Trump supporter in Montana, and he was saying we need to do something about the border, and then they asked him, well, how many of the people working in your dairy are undocumented? He said, I don't know. Well, of course you got undocumented people there. So I think that
we all have to communicate. We do have to communicate.
Well, and I think we also need to understand the balance of it. And here's where Trump can be so dangerous, because he takes that rhetoric and then he puts it in an action. Look at what the government had to do when he did the tariffs on China. What did they do? They just said, no, fine. So we start hurting your soybean.
Yeah, tariff war.
Yeah. All right, John. Let me go, man.
Can you ask one more thing?
Why don't you do this? I have guests, so I need to take a break. We can pick it up tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, you're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
That was a good album. Was that off bad? Was that off bad? You know, he never, just never. Well, after Thriller, what can you do?
Yeah,
right?
man, you can't top that Thriller album.
Well, we have some very special guests with us in the studio this morning. Xavier Fox there, Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce. And we have winners of the pitch contest last year. So I'm going to, and we have one of our individuals on YouTube. So introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is George Passaway. I'm founder of the Code Switcher.
My name is Chanel Sawarrior, and I am the founder of Milk Artistry.
And I am Brianka Grace Beverly. I am the owner and creator of Queen's Crowns Essentials.
Yay! And you know what? These are some very special people because, we had 13 finalists. Yep. So these are the top 3 of 13. So Brianka was our first place winner. Chanel was our second place winner, and George was our third place winner, and they were fabulous. The audience loved them.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with George. Tell us about your pitch, your product, and what you do.
Yeah. So the founder of the Code Switcher, we are a state of Wisconsin certified MBE company. We help corporations and higher ed institutions increase retention and graduation rates through education on code switching and its impact on belonging. For folks who don't know what code switching really is, it's the practice of one adjusting their style of speech, appearance, behavior, and expression to a particular context or a situation. It's something that we all do naturally as human beings, how we navigate between informal and formal settings. Just considering how you may communicate and express yourself around family and friends, is much different when you get into, the workplace, around your colleagues or boss, or at a fancy restaurant, or even at church. So your speech and everything transition to a more formal one. So that's pretty much what we do. But we really highlight how code switching is really becoming burdensome for people of color, where it prevents them being their true authentic selves, and is causing burnout. For students, it's causing them to experience heightened level of student burnout, which causing them to have low GPAs, low student engagement, and in worst cases, they're leaving the institution to another one where they feel seen and heard. And so we target the higher ed space as well as the corporate arena too. Specifically in the corporate space, we're helping and sharing how this thing of code switching is really, it can heighten that same burnout rate for employees, and really sharing strategies for corporations on how they can foster spaces where people feel seen, heard, and can be their true authentic self. And a highlight from just the work we've been doing in the last 5 years is we've been able to increase retention by 13%, which really equates to nearly 2,000 individuals, both in the corporate space and the higher ed space.
We did. I became familiar with code switching. My co-host on Friday,
nice.
He came in and he talked about it one day, and so we had the whole conversation around what that was. He talked about the things you discussed, the negative impact it has on our psyche. It is. I don't know if it was Conte Cullen who wrote the poem. We wear the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And how we go in and we find ourselves in certain spaces, because I was in a PWI when I was in high school.
Okay.
So the way I spoke in high school would be very different than the way I spoke on Fifth Street when I went home.
Absolutely.
But every now and then I sounded like the kid that was at Dominican when I was on Fifth Street. You're shaking, you understand? Mm-hmm. And that could be a problem, right?
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, the guy who was on the Cosby Show, he ended up marrying Lisa Bonet.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a book. He's from Denver. He said, "You talk like a white boy."
Mm-hmm.
Now, he had a reverse because he's a conservative about this whole idea of so-called proper speech and how we should be. So that is timely.
Absolutely.
I actually get that. A lot of my friends tell me, not to go in certain places. And if I do, don't talk.
Well, you heard the thing, the telephone voice.
Yep.
And I know I have a real life. If I could do this, I don't want to, but real life experience. I used to be a college recruiter, and part of my portfolio was that I had to deal with students who came in who might come in under probation or other things. There was a white kid from New Jersey, dude, killed on the SATs, but his grade point wasn't. So he's smart, but he's just lazy. And so his mom really wants to get him in. So she calls, and we're having this conversation. We're talking about everything we're gonna do. We set up an interview, bring him down. So she comes down with him, and so I walk in the office, and she asked the secretary. She said, "Is Mr. Parris here?" And she said, "He just walked by." And she said, "No, that's not Mr. Parris." So, yeah. Hey, man, I got good at it. But that's good. Our second place winner is Chanel. Pronounce that, is that Soror?
Chanel Sawyer.
I heard your pitch. And this wasn't the first year, right?
No, it was the second year.
Yeah, you did it last year. So talk about what you do, which it just caught my attention.
Okay, so Milk Artistry was actually founded after I had my last baby. I am a mother of 5. And so all my life with all my kids, I've been an oversupplier. But I'll just pump and dump because oversupplier meaning I'm producing way more breast milk than normal. And so with this business, I feel like our body is an art. And God allowed women specifically to be a blessing to others. And so my goal was to educate Black women, all women, but specifically Black women, because out of the 83% of women that's breastfeeding, 79% of Black women does not. So it affects our children. So with Milk Artistry, we bring breast awareness, breast education. I'm able to sell my milk to critically ill babies. So what I would do is I'll package my milk. It's a whole process, but I would ship it to California, and they will give my milk to babies who may not, be on a brink of trying to survive, critically ill, mothers who cannot produce at all, and they would use my milk, basically to help them to continue to develop. So that's how it was birthed. I was sitting at home and I'm like,
no pun intended.
I'm just sitting at home and I'm like, it's not meant for me to just pump and dump. And a lot of people don't realize with breast milk, it's more than just feeding a baby. When my infant would get sick, instead of going to the pharmacy and getting medicine, I would use my breast milk as a saline when he's congested. When my kids will have a cold, I will put it in a tea. I will put it in my hair, put it in my food. It's super natural. It's healthy. I realized that my kids were not constipated. I didn't have to deal with any of that. So it's multiple health benefits when people are educated and aware. And I believe that representation matters. Having a Black woman that actually went through the birthing process, because there's a lot of like lactation specialists that's giving you education as far as books and certification information, but they don't have the experience. They've never breastfed. They can't tell you what to do or how to combat your mental, because even with that, you have to make sure you're in a mental state. You have your support. You have to make sure you're eating properly, what you're consuming as far as what you're listening to, because all that affects what you produce and how you produce to feed your child or other children.
I want to hop in here real quick because I'm holistic, and I have a holistic health practitioner, right? And so we had this conversation. Actually, I did a show on it as well. We should do it again and bring you on there. So he was talking about how breast milk is not only good for babies; it's actually good for your man.
Yes.
Because the tongue tells the nipple what the man needs, and it can help the man heal as well as balance him out mentally and all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So breastfeeding your man is also a thing, and they used to do that back in the days.
They did.
Right. Like the soldiers and stuff that would be out at war, they would give them breast milk. That's what the women were around for, to help them heal.
Did you see?
This is a real thing.
Did you see me and George's reaction?
And it helps a woman to produce as well, because you have that intimacy. So if a woman is struggling with production and she seeks to please her man. In return, he's allowing her to help produce because it's stimulating and activating those hormones. So it gets real deep.
And it's not even a sexual thing, because like the breast milk that the soldiers were getting back during the wars and stuff, they weren't. Now you don't have to get the breast milk directly from the source unless you want to.
Right.
But if it's your man, he probably is getting it directly from the source. Or you calling somebody up right now, like get it ready.
I'm hungry.
Pay attention to the show.
And there are things that you can take that will make you start to lactate again, even if you have not given birth, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can. And even bodybuilders, they're actually using breast milk in their protein shakes.
Because they're more testosterone in their system and estrogen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the health benefits of it, like we shouldn't be drinking another mammal's milk.
Right.
At all. So even with like your health and what you're eating, what you consume is really important. So a lot of people that's not aware or educated about breast milk, they will frown upon it. Like you put it in your food, and I notice a difference. Like yes, my kids are not gassy. Even as far as their knowledge and how they retain information, like God created this for it to be put out here, not to just go to waste. So it's
we're
huge
from
benefit.
the generation where they were discouraging women,
right,
to breastfeed, and I think the other thing was the convenience piece of it. We've had conversations. We do a health segment every Tuesday, and we talked about the benefits of breastfeeding. But as you said, and we were laughing about it, but we have so sexualized the breast.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's very difficult for women to breastfeed, right? Because we've sexualized it. But that's fascinating. That little piece about your man.
I wasn't breastfed, but I breastfed both of my kids too. Okay. So we were discouraged from breastfeeding because how are you gonna go to work? My mom was like, I gotta go to work. I can't be here breastfeeding no baby because they weren't really up on that whole pumping thing back then.
Exclusively pumping. And that's another thing. When you look at the Midwest, the one common thing we have is poverty. So when you have a single mother, like for me, I had to pump every 3 to 4 hours, which means for the first 2 years, I didn't get more than 4 hours of sleep.
Wow.
Because my sheets will be soaked. If I don't empty out, it takes me 40 minutes to empty. So when you think in terms of pumping and breastfeeding, it is a job. When you have a single mother who's in the inner city who doesn't have the support, she don't have time to pump. Get this formula, take this bottle, go back to bed. I have to work. So you're educated and you realize you need a community and support. It's for us to give this to our child because my 2-year-old, he stopped latching and I exclusively pump. And the first thing they did in the hospital was push formula. But because I've had 4 kids prior to him, I'm like, no, I'm not going to get the formula. I would rather exclusively pump. And now when I'm in public, you have people looking at me like, what are you doing? If you go to Great America or Disney World, they shun and frown down upon women because they feel like it's not normal, especially if we're being real in the Black community. Because other cultures can do it, but when we do it, it's like our body is sexualized. So yeah.
We're joined this morning by the winners of the 2024 pitch contest there with Milwaukee, Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce. Brianka, we're going to grab you right after the break.
Okay.
You good?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. You're listening to Community Voice.
The
We'll be right
passing
back.
of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the new Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the new Pitts Mortuary.
alongside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back to Community Voice. And again, we have with us the winners of the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce Pitch Contest. I say this, I hope you all take this complimentary. What an eclectic group. And we have our first place winner. She's joining us via Zoom, Bianca Beverly of Queens Crowns Essentials. Good morning. I already said good morning, but tell us about you and your product.
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. My name is Bianca Grace Beverly again. Queens Crowns Essentials is near and dear to my heart. It was birthed through the process of me being not only a holistic hair artist of over 10 years, but I'm also a certified holistic wellness practitioner. And as I was going through my process of mastering my art, I saw a lot of sufferings that women were experiencing as my clientele, as well as men. And a lot of those scalp sufferings and issues were not being resolved with medications that doctors were giving them or products that were on the retail shelves. And I wanted to create something that can help not only their scalp and their hair and to grow their hair and to show them that as Black and brown individuals that we can have healthy, thriving hair. I also wanted to take a holistic approach and help them with their mental and their emotions because many may not know unless you're actually going through it. When your hair is affected, when your hair is not thriving, your edges are gone, you're balding, you're thinning, your hairline is receding, that affects the emotions, that affects the spirit. And a lot of times that's also a sign that there's some hormonal issues going on, some internal things. So what I wanted to do was create a hair care brand that helps to heal individuals from a mental, emotional, and spiritual perspective or with the root of it. And so I began to create, my first product was my healing hair care oil. Everyone called it the hair crack because you become addicted to it because of how amazing it is to the hair and what it does for the hair and how your hair and your scalp thrives from it, but also how it makes you feel. That started in 2019. And from there, I've extended my products to over offering many different products, shampoos, conditioners, deep conditioners, hair butters, and all of them have different holistic therapeutic properties in them that help with different things with the emotions, the hormones, and spirit because they uplift and they work and these different botanicals permeate through the skin tissues and work with the body and goes through the bloodstream. And so not only will you reap the benefits or experience the benefits, the physical health benefits of your hair thriving and growing and becoming healthier, you'll also experience the uplifting therapeutic and emotional and mental effects of my products as well. Since I've launched, I am currently in 3 different stores. I was in 4. One of the stores closed during the pandemic. That was the first store that I was located in. It was a holistic wellness store called Center Street Wellness. And now I'm currently in 3 Black and brown owned beauty supply stores, and I ship all across the nation. My products are transforming many women, men, and children's lives, and they're all natural and they're healing without the chemicals. There's a study that was done recently that's went viral over the internet about how a lot of the chemicals that are in a lot of these retail hair products are targeted towards Black and brown women, men, and children, and it's affecting their hormones. It's causing cancer. It's causing all of these issues because it's filled with all these sick, nasty ingredients. And I pride myself on creating every product and every bottle with healing ingredients and healing intent. And it's showing up in the world, and I'm continuing to grow, and it's continuing to help many women, men, and children. So I'm super excited about the next journey and the growth of Queens Crowns Essentials.
It's my mom was a trained beautician, and my mom early on cautioned us about the use of chemicals and certain chemicals in our hair. and now it's becoming manifest by the lawsuits out there now, and the studies that are showing the disproportionate impact of hair care products targeted to Black women, particularly, and the cancers. You know that have. Let me ask you a question, and it's probably a rhetorical question. Our hair is important to us.
Absolutely.
I mean, in terms of, so what is the psychology behind here? I was looking, I'm going to get seasick looking at George's waves, for example. I remember back in the day when I had them, lay them down, but our hair, I didn't say women is their crown, but even for men, what is that psychic attachment that we have to hair?
It's not psyche, it's spiritual.
Okay.
It's spiritual. It's in ancient texts. You can even look at the Bible. And there are different texts and sermons that are speaking about the power of the hair. And our hair is an extension of our nervous system. Our nervous system is a very, very vital system in our body that helps us to that helps with our emotions. We have our parasympathetic nervous system, and then which is like the unconscious nervous system, and then we have the conscious nervous system. So if the hair is the extension of that's a representation of where we are. So you have genetics that play a role as well. You have some individuals the hair just naturally grows, whether they're stressed or not, whether they're happy or not, and then you have individuals where genetically it'll show you when you're stressed. It'll show you where your spirit is because your hair is affected. Like even down to breastfeeding. Let's go into that. Women who are stressing about, not being able to produce, women who are struggling with the emotions of postpartum and things of that sort. A lot of women and the hormonal changes, the hair starts to get affected. And it's not just the physical and hormonal changes, it's the spiritual effects. If your spirit is down, if your spirit is in this place of lack or just emotional disturbances, that all affects the hair. So when we connect with our hair and we understand the power of it and we nourish it and we feed it and we give it the proper care and nourishment, we'll see it thrive. So when you connect with your hair in that way, the hair will only thrive because you're connecting with its power and you're understanding what it needs in order to thrive. That's just like our body. When we take care of our body, when we take care of anything, it thrives. When you put that into it and care for it, it uplifts. You know what I mean? So when it comes to our hair and the spiritual significance of it, it holds a great amount of connection when it comes to how we feel about our hair and how we feel about ourselves spiritually. A lot of times when people get depressed, what is the first sign of it? You'll see their hair just being affected, whether it's falling out or it's matted up. That shows where they are spiritually. They don't even have the connection to take care of it and nourish it, for a prime example.
So I have a question for you, Brianka. This is
Yes.
Xavier, if you can't see me.
I can see you.
Okay, okay. So I went natural in 2014, right? And so my issue with hair is that sometimes I want to wear a style where I may need to apply heat to it, but I don't like to put heat on my natural hair. I usually just keep it braided and throw something on top of it. But I've been trying not to do that as much this year. This is part of my goal. So what can we do do you have a product that we can put on our hair and then maybe curl it, put the heat on it so you don't actually damage your hair by putting that heat on it? I don't really even like to blow dry my hair. I just really like to let it do what it do.
My mama used to use hair rep.
Hair rep.
So when it comes to the hair and when it comes to protecting the barrier of the hair, when it comes to heat application, it's important to have a ritual and regimen that's consistent, not just for the time being of applying the hair. You want to create that protection in the hair on a consistent basis. And what is needed of that is consistent hydration and moisture. So my shampoos and conditioner, I have deep conditioners that deeply penetrate the hair shaft to seal the barrier and give deeper penetration of moisture into the hair. So the more you consistently moisturize your hair, the more you consistently deep condition the hair, the more it strengthens the barrier and the shaft of the hair and can prevent heat damage. As far as for the specific service, or if you're specifically wanting to apply heat to the hair, I do have my different hydration mists that you can apply prior to blow drying the hair that can create a sealant and a barrier over the hair before applying the heat to the hair. But I encourage you to have a consistent routine outside of just the application of the heat protected hydration mist prior to adding it. You want to create a regimen prior to, so that when it does get there, your hair is already fortified and strong enough to hold the heat and to be protected from the heat, so that it doesn't cause any heat damage. Because the more moisture and hydration the hair holds, the better it is to withstand against that heat. Because if the hair is dry and brittle and it never really has hydration, because let's say you never add moisture or hydration to the hair, right? And then you haven't done it in 3 months, but then in that 3 month, when those 90 days come up, you want to go get a silk press. So now you got one time of getting a deep condition treatment. Yeah, it'll help. However, if you're consistent in those 3 months of doing the deep condition treatment every week, adding moisture and hydration to the hair every week, now as the hair is stronger and more fortified and have a less chance of getting heat damage, and a greater chance of withstanding it and being healthy and thriving in your curls and growing.
Okay.
Yep. My mom had a thing where she said there's no such thing, and we do it. And I think our attitude when we talk about bad hair, good hair.
Oh, no, there's no such thing as bad hair, good hair.
My mother used to say that there is no, and then she used to tell me about hair rep, right? Because she said heat and grease. But braiding hair, you know what it did. I mean, back when I had a fro, my sister would do all kind of brain damage, braiding my hair. But no, I appreciate. It's important that we kind of understand that. You know, I don't know if anybody's seen Chris Rock's Good Hair. And it just talks about culturally, but you know, with every culture, hair becomes important. Something was just there to cover the body, and as we evolve as the human species, now it becomes. You were talking about code switching and the impact of code switching. Would you? Is there appropriate where the environment dictates how we communicate, or should it just be I'm going to be me and I'm going to be my authentic self regardless of the environment in terms of speech?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically, it changes between informal and formal settings. So I did a research on this. I'll give you some context. Back in 2015, at the campus of UW Whitewater, and my scientific contribution to the field of code switching through my research was I discovered how it was actually learned. And so I found that it was learned through three main ways: through instruction. This was taught at a much younger age by either parent or guardian; through observation. This is kind of like observing that linguistic community or social group you want to communicate with, and interaction. And so to answer your question, it really depends on the formal or informal settings. And people tend to switch, to either, to be well-liked, respected, to, really be effective communicators. One thing I found was that folks were code switching intentionally to kind of like change the prevailing narrative, whether associated with their race or whatnot. But my whole mission is to create spaces where people do not have to feel the burden or feel the need to code switch. Is rather want it to be more of a deliberate choice more than like an out of necessity or survival strategy.
Wouldn't that also be, when me and my boys, we kicking it, this is where we talk, but if we're at a family dinner, there might be some code switching, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just saying, so it's not, code switching in and of itself is not bad.
No.
It's some of these ancillary things that happen and what it does to, as you say, our psyche. How do we feel about ourselves? The story, I just saw him too recently. There was a classmate of mine. I had just gotten to high school, and I did 3 years of speech pathology. So it was more than cultural things. There was some my ability to be able to pronounce certain words. And I still struggle with certain words today. And so when I got there, I said, Pat, let me ask you a question. And he said, Keith, you killing me with that axe. What are you talking about, man? He said, because axe, A-X. I said, oh, I never thought about it because that's how I heard it. Because that's how we learn speech primarily is what we hear. That's why we kill lyrics, right? We thought we heard what we heard, right? And then they're like, dude, that ain't the lyric, man. But I think being able to do, you want to be your authentic self, but I think you should also be in a situation where you find yourself in certain spaces, because some of the other things we do with code switching is not so much the sound, but even words that we use that the audience might not understand.
Exactly.
And let me just keep it kind of just within us as descendants of enslaved African people. You're at a certain age. You're at a certain age. Hip hop and other there's words as part of your lexicon that's probably based on your hip hop experience. You get among older folks,
and we don't have a clue what you're talking
about. Yeah, what you? So how important is it that at the bottom line is that you're understood?
Absolutely. It's 100% extremely important, because the whole point of communication is to get your message across. If it isn't understood, you need to find a more mainstream or another way to, communicate that, get your point across. And so it's very important. And you really touch on some really, critical points, that my whole research and the work that I do covers. And so it's it's something that I know shows up, within every individual, regardless of, race, gender. I think it's really interesting when I'm doing corporate engagements where there's predominantly, white individuals. Everyone is raising their hand of like how they're code switching and how, they can relate to it too.
I worked on the south side of Milwaukee. Polish descendants, based on their colloquialisms, there would be things that you're going like, you murdering the English language, right? Because our culture has a lot to do with it. And America is really unique because we're far from homogeneous, right? We have all these different cultural influences that influence our language, and then our arts would also, influences our languages. So it's always fascinating as I'm sitting here having a nightmare, because I used to have linguistics on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30. And I'm going back to linguistics class now in terms of understand how we learn how to communicate speaking.
So I have 2 questions or comments. The first one is for you. So in public speaking, the first thing you learn is that you have to meet your audience where they are, where they understand you. And exactly, you have to read the room. So with code switching, I think this kind of went along with what you said. Depending on where you were educated, I heard you say Whitewater. I went to a private school and a college prep. You went to, you may have actually grown up and been taught to speak a different way. And when you are actually with your family and friends, that's the code that you're switching. You're so that's still code switching, right?
Yep.
And so, is that a bad thing? Is that or is it is code switching a bad thing, or is it really just adapting to meeting your audience where they are? You reading the room. So is it a bad thing, or are you just reading the room?
Honestly, code switching is good. It has its bads and it's ugly. And so there are some good points of it where you get to, meet people where they are linguistically. You can build authentic relationships. There's some bad to it where, it causes, identity conflicts where you're conflicting with your cultural identity in this dominant space. Because when you think about when people are code switching, they're code switching to that dominant cultural place that they're in. And so those internal conflicts, and where it gets ugly at is people really due to code switching start developing like imposter syndromes where they start imposing themselves and feel like they don't belong. And that's where they start finding exit plans to find or be in other spaces where they could be seen and be their true authentic selves. So it has its good, bad, and ugly. It's important for us to know those critical elements of it.
So do you we gotta wrap it up.
I just let me get her. Okay, Brianka, my next one is for you because I need all of that stuff, and I'm sure that some of the people listening. Can you give us your website?
Yes. So If you're looking to purchase products locally, I'm located in Milwaukee in 3 different beauty supply stores. That is Beauty Palace. There's one located on 102nd in Silver Spring. The other location is on East Capitol, 709 East Capitol Drive. And then I'm also in Capitol Beauty, which is on 64th and Capitol. So you can purchase them locally. And then as far as online, my website is www.queenscrownessential.com. There's no S at the end of essentials on the website. So again, that's www.queenscrownessential.com. And I did want to put this out there. During the February, which of course is Black History Month, but I call it Black Herstory Month because I'm continuing to create my herstory. And I love that my customers are a part of my history and herstory. And so I always create very intentional sales and things around my business where my customers, which is my family, can be a part of my history and help to create my history with me. So if you're looking to get some great sales and some freebies, I always give out freebies and gifts. I call it gifting during the month of February. Be sure to follow me. I have some great things coming up in February when it comes to the sales and production of Queen's Crowns Essentials. And I just want to add this. I want all the listeners and anyone who is hearing about Queen's Crown Essentials to know that I want you all to be able to love and nourish and connect with your hair and know that your hair is beautiful, and to honor your hair and take care of your hair, because it's a lot of products out there that is affecting your hair, that is also affecting the mental and the emotions. And you don't want to put those chemicals and that into your body. And it's important that we take care of ourselves when it comes to our hair and our hair health. And also down to
Yeah, so we gotta go there.
Oh, okay, because I keep going. I'm long-winded.
Go on, dear.
Milk Artistry. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at milkartistry@proton.me. And my telephone number is 414-899-9219. I'm looking to connect with those interested in breast education.
George?
To hire the Code Switcher for training, you can find us at www.thecodeswitcherllc.com.
Xavier with the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce, twbcc.com. Third Thursday is coming up, y'all. We're going to be at City Social. I'll be back to talk about it later.
Let me thank you all for being part of the program. Hey, the good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place of peace.
Yeah. WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM, also known as The Voice, has been a central figure in Milwaukee's African American community for more than 60 years.